Good morning and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live recording. For anybody that's new here, what we do is go over crypto news from the previous day. Normally what I would do by myself with everybody here. All right, let's see who's in the chat and then we'll get into this. Mr. Ovalbore Tex in the house. Good morning. Good to see you, buddy. We have Steven Cicero, Andrew Masad, Nick K, Gaming with Smokey Dan, Backwards Miner, Crypto KJ. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Welcome back to the VIPs. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much. We have Mr. DJ Mines in the house as always. Appreciate you, Mr. Let's see, all set. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see who else is here real quick and then we'll get into this. Power Mines. Good morning, buddy. Good morning. Much Train, Claus Crypto, Trade Likes Night, my man, and everybody else I may have missed. I apologize, but I appreciate you being here. All right, let's get into this. See what the market's looking like today. Bitcoin tops 47,000 yesterday evening. It's at 46,663 as of right now. We have Ethereum at 2284. Solana's back over $100, which is nice to see. In the deep green, we have XRP 56 cents, down a little bit on the day. AVAX is up 5.1% to $36. Let's see. Kaspa is up today at 11.5 cents. We have is this Lido? It is Lido. Man, I don't know why I didn't know that. Lido. Let's see. Where are we at? $3 and does this say $3? Where the hell is it? Where did it just go? What is happening right now? It is $3. $3.20. 10.31%. Man, I don't know what just happened there. Anyways, ETC 19 bucks, still under 20. Unfortunate. We have Dogecoin under 8 cents. All right, let's check out crypto bubbles real quick, see if anything else is popping out at us on the day. Looks like Hex, HNT actually would probably be the winner. 24.8% up, $6.27. Is anybody still into helium? Anybody at all? Please let me know in the chat. I would love to know. I still have a sour taste in my mouth over helium, but helium mobile I guess is separate. I don't know. I don't really know the difference between the two, but let me know in the chat. We have Hex. Looks like this coin, I don't know, I've heard a lot of BS about this coin lately and how it's a scam or some BS. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about Hex, but it's up 23.7% today. We have BSV up 17.8%. Again, Lido's up 13%. Celestia is up 14.8% on the day, looking like $15.93. Bonk is up 23.2 at 0.00000128. Kaspa up 9.5%. Again, 11.5 cents, just about. That's pretty much it. Everything's looking pretty good. Check out the Fear and Greed Index. Look at this. Perfect. We have Extreme Greed 76. This is when I really start paying attention to this chart. This is the first time we've seen Extreme Greed in a long time. Actually, it has to be over a year. It has to be. This is when, you know, again, famous Warren Buffett always says, sell when people are greedy and buy when people are fearful. Smartest thing to do. So this is when I start really looking at this chart. It's yeah, the higher this needle moves, the smarter it is to take some profits. That's just my opinion. You guys do what you will. Not financial advice. All right, top 10 coins over on CoinGecko by CoinMarketCap. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, XRP, USDC, Lido Staked Ether, Cardano, and Avalanche. Avalanche still in 10th, knocked Dogecoin down a peg a couple weeks ago. Not too bad. Still deserves top 10th in my Avalanche deserves top 10th rather, in my opinion, over a meme coin at the end of the day. If you guys have any questions, just at me in the chat. Helium and Helium Mobile are the same but different. I have both, even the 5G low antenna. I make about $18 a day. Oh, interesting. Nice, Dan R. That's sick. Hell yeah. So it's pretty much the same thing. That's weird. Is it like a fork? Like what's the deal? I don't know. Let me know. That's kind of weird. I'm feeling good. Trade Likes Night. I'm just tired because, you know, 2 little kids. That's how that goes. All right, let's see. What else do we got? Litecoin in 21st place. We have Shiba's in 19th, if anybody's wondering. Bitcoin Cash in 22nd. Scroll down here, just check out a few more coins. We have Ethereum in 32nd. Ethereum Classic rather in 32nd. We have Monero in 35th, and Kaspa is back into the top, or I would say top 40. Is that how you say that? 38th place. Not too bad at a $2.57 billion market cap. Man, hiccups this morning. All right, let's move on to the mining stuff, see what things are looking like over here for the ASICs. We have the WinMiner K9 10.3 terahash, $94.72 a day. Again, with the price of Kaspa rising today, it's over the 87 that it was at yesterday, so perfect. That's good. That's definitely good. Nice to see it go up a little bit. The KS3 8 terahash over here, we have $72 a day. The KS3M 6 terahash is getting $51.63 per day. We have the KS2 2 terahash unit earning $17.05 per day. The X16P, which is one of these newer units coming out, 5.8 gigahashes. It is mining ETH, W, and ZIL is most profitable at $16.40 per day. Let's see, the Ice River KS1 looks like it's making $8.53 a day. X16Q from Jingle Mining. If you guys are interested, check out the links in the description. We have ETH, W, and ZIL, $5.56 per day. Let's see, what's my L7 looking like? Where's the 9050? L7 9050, where are you? That is the L7 500, 9500 rather. I don't even know. It's gonna be around here somewhere. Whatever. I probably glanced over it 100 times, but I'll find it eventually. We have the KS0 Pro. Let's see. This is the 200 gigahash unit at 100 watts. I have 8 of these on the floor next to me. $1.74 a day. Terrible. Lithium still on fire. Let's check out lithium in a second. I want to check out the L7. I want to see what the L7's making. My 9050. Where are we at? Right here. There we go. Make it $5.41 per day. Again, this is all at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So if you pay anything more than that, then yeah, that's how that goes. All right, let's check out lithium. Let's see where that's at. 'Cause lithium was popping off the other day. Well, actually, the last couple days has been going crazy. Damn, $2.32. Hell yeah. Perfect. That's sick. That's sick, DJ. You ain't joking. You ain't joking. Congrats to anybody that's been holding a bag of lithium. All right, let's check out honey. Honey's actually been taking a little bit of a pullback. 19.8. And you know what? Not gonna lie, right? The reason I was a little bit late going live is I got ripped off by the Phantom wallet. I went to swap some Solana into Honey, and the wallet literally just said failed app transaction and gave me this. Look at this. Right, and it says I only paid a network fee of 0.00026, but it swallowed $77 of Solana because I had 5.7 Solana in my thing, and now I have 4.9, and I didn't get any honey. So I don't know what the hell's going on. So I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm gonna have to blast these people on Twitter. Scumbags. Anyways, all right, let's get into this. Yeah, that sucks. I don't even know. I'm like, what the hell? I just lose $75 in like 2 seconds because of an app failure. What the hell was that? Like, whatever. That's terrible. It is what it is. I'll figure it out. All right, let's see what else we gotta look at. Let's look at Neoxa. Actually, Neoxa is one of those coins that I really want to get my masternode. I almost have 500,000 as of right now in inodes, and it's at 0.003. It's down 6.5% today. I've just been DCAing into it, to be honest, the past couple days actually, or a week or so, back into it from mining Pyron, selling it and buying Neoxa. So not too bad, not too bad. ETC POW, that project's going to shit. I still haven't gotten payouts. I don't know what's going on with this team, man. They friggin', yeah, this thing's going straight into the dumps. Bruh. 37 cents. Terrible, absolutely terrible. Let's see, had like 20 million mobile chilling in Jupiter for a while, waiting for a limit sell. Nice, Mr. Overboard, nice. Let's see, I'm finally getting over the chump pox. I blame you. Oh, you sick, Crypto 440? That's terrible, dude. The sickness that I had 2 weeks ago was the worst of my life. I'm not even kidding. Again, Celestia is up 15.88%. Oh, you know what? Let's look at AIPG, because that's another coin that's actually been doing pretty well lately. 44 cents right now, down 13.4%. Let's check out the 7-day on this. So it's having a bit of a pullback. Went up to 73 cents, 75 cents. Wow. I guess that its all-time high was 77. I still don't know if this coin actually does anything to do, or has anything to do with AI. I think it's just taking the name just for the hype. That's my opinion. All right, let's check out GPUs over here real quick before we get into the news. Miss Kathy Woods all over the place today, so we're gonna we're gonna dive into that. We have right now the RTX 4090 Lithium is the top earner, and Hypera in Lithium Pretty cool. We have the 4080, 4070, same thing. 3080, same thing basically. But I guess dual mining is better than just mining it. 7900 XT, again, a lithium. Really, a lithium's on the top of the charts for everything. AIPG on the AMD RX 7900 XT is the highest revenue, it says. Interesting. Yeah, really, everything is pretty much a lithium and AIPG, but AIPG is just, it's one of those kapow coins that I'm not interested in. I just don't want to deal with a high electric bill. Let's see. I better go get my bucket. What's your bucket for? You gonna throw up? Mr. Crypto KJ. Oh, you're probably looking at the ETC POW chart. All right, let's get into the news, guys. We got to see right here. Bitcoin ETF widely expected to get approval this week. I don't know if you guys heard, but you guys will hear right now that apparently if the ETFs get approved on Wednesday, these things could be trading by Thursday or Friday, which is freaking insane. I thought it was going to take like weeks to it to actually like come to fruition, but whatever. Let's get into this, guys. Hit that like button. Appreciate you.
Crypto investors waiting with bated breath for approval of a Bitcoin ETF. Will it happen? And perhaps will it happen as soon as this week? Kate Rooney, that's the question.
Hey, David. Yeah, that is the question. A Bitcoin ETF, it's now widely expected to get the green light this week. Two sources close to the process now telling me it's looking like Wednesday, which is also the deadline for Cathie Wood's ARK and 21 shares bid. Then I'm told potential trading would happen Thursday or Friday, but it has been a moving target here on dates. The SEC is expected to approve a handful of applications at once. Those sponsors filing even more paperwork this morning, where we are starting to get a sense of this price war emerging. There are 13 applications out there with different fees. Some are starting at 0 and then rising once the fund hits a certain size. So BlackRock, for example, plans to start at 0.2% and then go to 0.3%. Fidelity at 0.39%. Grayscale looking like the highest here, 1.5%. This one's worth watching, guys. It's looking to convert an already publicly traded Bitcoin trust, GBTC, into an ETF, so known as an uplist. With 27 billion roughly under management, GBTC would become one of the largest commodity-based ETFs if it is approved.
An uplist. That's interesting. They just be flopping everybody from the futures to spot. Is that what's going on? That's weird as hell.
The fund used to trade at a steep premium to Bitcoin, but then you've seen it switch, and it's been trading at a pretty steep discount in the past year or so, as much as 45% last year. That has narrowed to about 5%. So if that fund converts into an ETF, the discount essentially disappears overnight, starts trading at the price of Bitcoin. Some are taking that as an arbitrage trade, an opportunity there. Crypto prices have shot up in anticipation of this approval. Some are cautious, though, including Cathie Wood, who's among those taking profits, at least when it comes to Coinbase, ahead of any news here this week. Guys, back to you.
Cathie Wood's an absolute savage. Hey, real quick, I just checked out my my Phantom wallet, and apparently they sent me back wrapped Solana. Solana wrapped with Solana. How does that happen? How does that? I didn't even know there was a thing. You can get Solana wrapped with Solana. What is that? Wrap Solana on Solana. Because the app failed my transaction. That is the weirdest thing that's ever happened. Anyways, all right, let's get on to the next thing. We have ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood on the spot. Bitcoin ETF, guys, that like button. I hate asking, but YouTube makes me. Let's do it.
Bitcoin's higher today as we await the SEC's ruling on the first ever Bitcoin ETF. Let's get to Bob Pisani now with today's ETF Edge and special guest Cathie Wood. Bob?
Scotty, good to see you. You know, it's been 10 years in the waiting, 10 years. But crypto enthusiasts believe the SEC is finally on the verge of approving a spot Bitcoin ETF, perhaps as soon as this week. We'll see. There's 13 applicants for Bitcoin ETFs. First in line, Cathie Wood from ARK Invest. Cathie joins us now. Great to see you, Cathie. You know,
Great
Cathie, you were around. It was the Winklevoss twins who filed for the first Bitcoin ETF. It was 2013, as I recall, and I think it took until 2017 for the SEC to reject that application along with all the others. Do you believe your application will be approved, and why do you think so, and what kind of negotiations have been in with the SEC about this? Give us a sense of where we are.
Sure. Well, we do think the probability is very high that that Bitcoin ETFs will be approved this week. Perfect. And the reason, as we've been saying, is, you know, the SEC actually, after, you know, denying a number of times, started asking questions, very good questions, very detailed questions, very technical questions. So I think they've asked all the questions they need answered, and I think most of us have probably been a part of that, process.
So let's assume the SEC approves your application. What kind of impact would a Bitcoin ETF have? I mean, we've all noticed this run-up in Bitcoin ever since BlackRock announced their interest from 30,000 to over 40,000. All of this is anticipation of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Could this be a sell on the news event? What happens from here? Let's assume this is approved.
Sure. I think so many people are expecting now a sell on the news that we might not have a sell on the news because, once you hear that enough, the positioning is already taking place. So who knows? It's a very short term. All we know is with our 5-year investment time horizon, we think the flows into this new asset class, especially institutional flows, but also retail flows. Retail has led the charge, of course, that they're going to be quite substantial. And it won't take much of an allocation by institutions into Bitcoin to drive what is becoming a scarce asset much higher.
You recently reportedly sold Coinbase stock. This is usually considered a proxy for Bitcoin. So what are your thoughts on Bitcoin now? What kind of, flesh out your ideas a little bit for us.
So on Coinbase, it was up 400% last year, and we as we do normally, and you've seen us trading around Tesla, now trading around Coinbase, a lot of good news. It became the largest stock in our flagship portfolio. In terms of Bitcoin, we think we've got 3 very big reasons for it to continue to move higher. One, it is digital gold, and gold is a $12 trillion asset. I think Bitcoin might be up to 800 billion right now. So we do think there is some substitution taking place. And the institutional flows, if the allocations were as little as 2.5% to 5%, which is where we think they will end up, you'll see 0.5 and then 1%, you'll see a legging in. That could be the biggest reason for a Bitcoin to go up because, we're at 19.5 million Bitcoin outstanding already. 15 million roughly are in long-term hands. They haven't moved their Bitcoin in more than 155 days. Perfect. Therefore, we know we're only going to 21 million units ever. So this indeed, from 19.5 to 21 million, is becoming a scarce asset.
Interesting. I truly believe that we're going to see a little bit of a pullback here, but let's get into this again. She continues here. I don't know why they split up the video.
Wabner, how are you? Welcome to Halftime Report. It's good to see you again. I have a couple of questions for you. A rough last week, obviously, but an incredible end of the year. Obviously, it seems as though the Innovation Fund specifically is tracking the movement of the 10-year yield. First off, do you expect that that's the way it's just going to be for the foreseeable future?
I think algorithmic trading has taken us there, high-frequency trading. But at some point, we think we've been in very many markets. For example, 2017, when interest rates were moving up, our flagship strategy was up 85%. So algorithms have gotten a hold of the market, we think, in the last couple of years, increasingly. But if we are right, interest rates are going to continue down. We think we're moving into a period of deflation, prices actually falling, oil prices today being a good catalyst there. And we think interest rates, if you look at where the long-term Treasury ended up 5% in October, and you map that against the ratio of metal prices to gold prices, they had been tracking, the correlation was very tight for since 2009. And they parted company big time last year, 5%. that ratio would suggest that long-term Treasury yields should be down closer to 2%. Now, maybe the truth will be somewhere in between, but we do believe that long rates overshot and that they have and that they are on the way down.
I want to ask you about portfolio management, because I look at so many of your top 10 holdings are up just tremendous amounts over the last 3 months. Really, you know, the rally from the end of October to the end of the year took many of your stocks higher. And I know, you know, the Innovation Fund had its best month, I think, ever in November.
Kathy Wood's a savage.
But on that note, when you look at a Roku, for example, that's up 31% in a few months, or a UiPath 39, Block 56, Roblox 38, CRISPR 40, et cetera, you get my point. At what point do you look at those and say, I need to trim some of those positions? They've either gotten too large or the gains are just too big.
That's a good question.
We have been trimming most of them. So, yes, that's portfolio management. So we do indeed take profits. And if you'll notice, last year, the group that lagged so badly was what we used to call our genomics group, the multiomics group, we now call it. Many people call it biotech. And so you saw us deploying some of those gains into the multiomics space, which is very relevant. JP Morgan conference on this week. We think there's going to be a lot of good news and a lot of catalysts.
Kathy, it's pretty well known, I'm just going back to Bitcoin here, that a lot of the the old wirehouses still don't allow their clients to access Bitcoin. Do you think this spot Bitcoin ETF is going to make a difference? Will institutions become a little more accepting and willing to offer it to their clients, or is there still going to be a significant institutional barrier here?
I want to ask about Twilio.
No, actually, we think that the SEC approval, should we and others get it, is a green light for institutions. We've been talking to quite a few of them, and they're much more interested now that the SEC effectively is paving the way.
Perfect.
Joe?
Awkward pause.
Kathy, it's Joe. Real quick, wanted to ask you about the CEO change at Twilio. Does that give you any comfort, confidence, or do you look to move to the sidelines that they're not doing enough?
Well, we know there have been some activist investors involved, so this seems to be the outcome of that. We have believed that the sum of the parts is worth more than the whole. I think I checked this morning, it's selling at 2.5 times sales, roughly 15 times EBITDA. And we do believe that it should be one of the prime beneficiaries of the artificial intelligence breakthroughs that we're seeing, because it has so much proprietary data. And so we'll be watching carefully to make sure that they follow through on a lot of the AI promises that they made last year.
Real quick in the chat, OCKI, I'm not even sure how to say your name, but you said, if there's a Bitcoin ETF, I would send my lawyer to quit my job for me. You don't think it's going to happen? It's definitely going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Who knows when. All right, let's get in this spot Bitcoin approval final steps. Let's hear what they have to say over here. Guys, hit that like button. Appreciate you. I hate asking, but YouTube makes me.
Welcome to ETF Edge, your go-to place for everything exchange-traded funds. I am your host, Bob Pisani, but you probably knew that. It's been 10 years in the waiting, but crypto enthusiasts believe the SEC may finally be on the verge of approving a spot Bitcoin ETF, perhaps as soon as this week.
Isn't that crazy? 10 years ago, the Winklevoss twins or whatever put they actually applied for an ETF, which is insane, and it was just denied in like whenever, a couple years back.
13 applicants for Bitcoin ETFs. First in line, Kathy Wood from ARK Invest. She joins us now along with Jan Van Eck, CEO of Van Eck, who also has an application for a spot Bitcoin ETF in. Doug Jonas is the head of exchange traded products here at the New York Stock Exchange. And Ophelia Snyder is the founder of 21 Shares. She's a partner with Kathy Wood, launching ETF products. Kathy, I was joking with this about you earlier. It was the Winklevoss twins who first filed for the first. Real
quick, Finance Man says, I don't think it'll be approved. Really? Man, trolling you all. Oh, okay. All right. You trolling?
Bitcoin ETF back in 2013. I think it was 2017 it took for the SEC to reject that. and all the other ones. So do you...
Sorry, real quick. What did you just say right there? Let me scroll back a little bit.
Kathy, I was joking with this about you earlier. It was the Winklevoss twins who first filed for the first Bitcoin ETF back in 2013. I think it was
2013 they applied for it.
2017 it took for the SEC to reject that.
That's
and all the
crazy.
other ones. So do you believe your application is going to be improved? Why do you think so? And what kind of negotiations or discussions have you had about the SEC, with the SEC about this?
Yes, well, that's the important word, discussions, mostly questions and answers, which was unlike previous filings. So they started asking questions, I think of many
Man, they're having some mic problems today, huh?
of us, and we provided answers. It became a process, the questions very detailed, very technical, which told us they were getting ready. Now, can we be 100% sure there will be approval this week? No, you never say 100%, but we're feeling really good about it.
Jan, you've got an application as well. Kathy says she's been talking with the SEC. It seems like something's happening. What's your sense here?
I would just say in general, what I read publicly is that people go through this process of the SEC commenting on prospectuses. This is true for all ETFs, and that's what's happening now. So all the prep work that needs to happen is happening.
But the fact that they're commenting, or at least asking questions, that's the right thing.
Not just commenting, commenting on the specific prospectus, which is the disclosure document, which every public security.
But my point is, if they had some grand scheme to challenge this again and some new novel legal theory, they wouldn't be going through all this. It's a positive sign, isn't it?
There's always someone higher on the org chart, Bob, so you never know when lightning might strike, but yes.
All right. Doug, you're here because you're the industry guy. You represent the New York Stock Exchange. You're in charge of ETFs here at the NYSE. A spot Bitcoin ETF is a brand new product. There's been reports the exchanges have been in discussion with the SEC about the mechanics of how this product might trade. What can you tell us about that and when it might trade?
Yeah, I mean, look, as mentioned, we have been working on a potential spot Bitcoin ETF for the better part of 10 years. And this week is an exciting time. I think a lot of people are sort of gearing up and trying to read the tea leaves. At the end of the day, we won't speak for our regulator. The SEC has a series of approvals they need to make in order to make a spot Bitcoin ETF a reality. That being said, when we start to think about the tea leaves, right, what are we reading about? We're seeing a lot of communication both directions from issuers on the different filings, and we're seeing a lot of gearing up, right? We're starting to see the lead market makers being chosen. We're seeing the filings happen with respect to expense ratios. So I think across the industry, we're seeing all the signs of a potential approval. And look, that's what we do here at the New York Stock Exchange. It is about innovation. It's what we've always done. And so we're really excited to be a part of this.
So I don't want to get too wonky on this, but there's two components of this because it's a little more complicated. There's what's called a 19B4 filing. This is a form used by the exchanges to tell the SEC about a proposed rule change because we have a new product here, right?
That's right.
So that's what you need
There's
to do.
There's two pieces here. So
right, and then there's the S1, which you all know about. That's the individual product registration. So
that's right.
Explain this to us and what has to be approved first, or what's the process?
Yeah, I wouldn't look at it as a second piece, but there's two components. One component is we want the ETF itself to become approved, and that's your S1 filing. That'll make the product itself viable and approved by the SEC. The other side is, look, this is an ETF that's innovative and unique. It's never traded here at the New York Stock Exchange, which means we do not yet have a series of listing rules to trade it. That's your 19B4 filing. So we're filing a set of rules that say, for spot Bitcoin ETFs, here's how they trade. Now, we already have rules for futures-based futures-based Bitcoin ETFs. As you know, we have BitO. That's been trading over 2 years. There's $1.7 billion in BitO. But this would be spot Bitcoin, which is a little different.
And all the exchanges are engaging in this. You, NASDAQ, and CBOE are all engaging in
That's right. Yeah, it's the entire industry that's working on this right now.
Interesting, very interesting. Shout out to CNBC. All right, so let's get into CNBC television crypto world over here. These videos they do are pretty good, usually about 10 minutes long. Bitcoin touches highest level in nearly 2 years as deadline for spot ETF looms. Let's get into it. Again, hit that like button, guys. Appreciate you.
Today, asset managers including BlackRock and Grayscale disclose fees for the proposed spot Bitcoin ETFs. Coinbase is planning an acquisition that would allow the platform to launch crypto derivatives in the EU. And Ben McMillan of IDX Digital Assets breaks down what a spot Bitcoin ETF in the US could mean for retail investors.
It's going to be crazy. How many of you guys think it's going to be a sell the news event? I personally do, a little bit.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Jordan Smith. Crypto prices in the green to kick off the week with the much anticipated decision on spot Bitcoin ETFs just a couple of days away. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin traded just under $45,000 as the expectation of an imminent approval of at least one spot Bitcoin ETF has propelled the cryptocurrency's price. Ether and Solana climbed more than 1.5%. Crypto-focused stocks were mixed ahead of the SEC's decision, with Coinbase, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and MicroStrategy all in the red as of noon Eastern. Bitcoin miners Marathon and Riot, however, both rose nearly 1.5%. All right, let's talk about the top stories. Asset managers, including BlackRock, Grayscale, and ARK21 Shares, disclosed fees today for their planned spot Bitcoin ETFs as the deadline to approve these investment vehicles approaches. BlackRock set a fee of 0.3%, while VanEck disclosed plans to charge 0.25%, and ARK21 Shares lowered its planned fee to 0.25% from 0.8% as competition among participants heats up. Bitwise disclosed a 0.24% fee, and Fidelity set a 0.39% fee from the filings we reviewed. It appears Grayscale also set a fee higher than other asset managers at 1.5%. Meanwhile, the exchanges that will list spot Bitcoin ETFs like the NASDAQ and CBOE filed amended documents last week on behalf of asset managers, including BlackRock and Fidelity. The amended 19B4 filings, which notify the SEC of a proposed rules change for an exchange, join amended S1 filings addressing feedback from the agency. It's widely expected that once the 19B4 filings are approved, the SEC could separately approve the S1 applications of all the ETF applicants at once. Next, as the deadline for a spot Bitcoin ETF in the US looms, SEC Chair Gary Gensler took to X to remind investors that there are risks associated with crypto. Gensler wrote in a thread today that investments in crypto assets can be exceptionally risky and are often volatile. He reminded people that a number of major platforms and crypto assets have become insolvent or lost value. He also warned that fraudsters continue to exploit the rising popularity of crypto assets to lure retail investors into scams.
Did you guys see the FOMO thing they put on the SEC website that we showed yesterday? It was actually quite funny.
Gensler added that these investments continue to be replete with fraud, bogus coin offerings, Ponzi and pyramid schemes, and outright theft where a project promoter disappears with investors' money. Last, Coinbase wants to offer crypto-linked derivatives in the European Union. Coinbase told CNN
Game with Smokey Dan just said Gary looks like a fish from SpongeBob.
NBC exclusively on Friday that the crypto exchange entered into an agreement to buy an unnamed holding company which owns a license that would allow the crypto company to achieve its goal. That license refers to the EU's updated rules governing financial instruments, which includes fixed income and derivatives. The move is part of Coinbase's long-standing goal to serve professional and institutional customers, and if it completes the deal, it would mark the first launch of derivatives trading by the firm in the EU. Coinbase already offers spot trading of certain cryptocurrencies, but with a license, the platform would be able to start offering regulated derivatives like futures and options in the region. The deal is subject to regulatory approval, and Coinbase expects it will close later this year.
Pretty neat.
All right, back to spot Bitcoin ETFs for our main story. I spoke with Ben McMillan, the founder and CIO of IDX Digital Assets, on what the impact of an approval of one of these proposals could mean for retail investors and institutions.
We are a few days or even a few hours away from a decision from the SEC on these potential spot Bitcoin ETFs. What's your expectations on whether the SEC will give the go-ahead for one of these spot ETFs? And also, what are your price expectations for Bitcoin in the aftermath of that decision either way?
Yeah, so I think at this point, I mean, we've seen the SEC has clearly been very deliberate with their approach to allowing spot Bitcoin ETFs. And as such, so have the issuers. And at this point, we've seen a lot of back and forth. The market expectation is that it's going to hit this Wednesday, the 10th. I think that's the likelihood. At this point, we have all the updated S1s, for any offering that comes to market, of any type of kind of 40 Act fund, ETF in particular, there's a lot of back and forth with the SEC. So this isn't just these issuers, putting something out there and hoping it hits. They have good visibility and a high likelihood that this gets allowed. So I think at this point, it'd be very surprising if that were not the case. And I think it is imminent. I think the market is right that it's likely going to be this week. So the next question is, what does that mean for price action? Longer term, this is very bullish. And I'll get into that, although I would caution investors that, we've started seeing some bullish price action in the last couple of weeks in anticipation of this event.
Again, buy the rumor, sell the news. It's most likely what's going to happen. They're going to, like, the OGs in Bitcoin are going to end up wrecking these people that just come in for this just ETF solely, right? The price is just going to dip and it's going to scare the shit out of a lot of people because they're not used to this volatility.
You do have to be, a little bit worried about the buy the rumor, sell the news type of trade here. Now, do I think the bottom's going to fall out? No. But I don't think people should, necessarily rush into, Bitcoin expecting a huge bump day of. Although it is Bitcoin, anything can happen. I think what's more interesting, however, is, really what this portends for Bitcoin and specifically the mainstreaming of Bitcoin for the audience, a greater audience. The appeal of the spot Bitcoin ETFs wasn't so much, in my mind, wasn't so much necessarily the fact that it was spot, although that matters to a lot of people. It was who was behind it. The fact that you've got really big names, BlackRock, of course, and Fidelity being kind of the two poster children here, suggests that once these ETFs are allowed, they'll start to find their way into things like 401k type plans, retirement plans. All of a sudden, it's, the idea of Bitcoin in model portfolios is going to be a lot more normalized. And so I think longer term, intermediate longer term, this really opens up the audience of people that can invest in Bitcoin. And the last thing I'll say from kind of a market perspective, a structural perspective, is the fact that they're owning spot is, any dollars that come into these ETFs are going to have to buy spot directly. And so, a lot of people are excited about that fact, again, from a structural perspective, being a price catalyst for Bitcoin.
And that's a good point. So like what he basically said is like, so like these big companies, they have to purchase Bitcoin in the background to be able to back whatever they're selling you guys on the ETF platform. Do you know what I mean? So they got to have, the collateral there, which is a good thing, right? At the end of the day, but it's also, I don't know. There's two sides to this whole thing.
Yeah, let's talk about retail investors. A lot's been said about these ETFs and their benefits for Wall Street or for institutions. But in your view, what's the benefit for retail traders buying into these products versus just buying and holding Bitcoin directly? Is it the long-term, say, like 401k replacement, retirement interest there? Is it the stability? What's the benefit over just buying the asset itself?
Now, would you guys personally put Bitcoin in your 401k? I mean, I know a lot of you would, but just anybody that like has a Roth IRA or a 401k, like, would you guys reach out to your financial advisor and ask them to put money into Bitcoin? Is that something you guys would do? Let me know.
I think the big one is just the kind of the standard benefits of an ETF wrapper. It's easy. It can custody anywhere. It's for a lot of folks, despite the fact that it's relatively simple to set up a Coinbase account, it's another account. It's a leap that a lot of people just aren't going to take, and so we saw with early enthusiasts in Bitcoins, everybody was happy trading in, trading spot with, the likes of Coinbase, et cetera, even some, financial advisors and institutions, but you have to, still custody it yourself. The fact that this can, settle in any account, it's an ETF. There's a huge layer of trust there. And we saw this, with Bitcoin futures, people liked that the CME was now a counterparty. And, they didn't have to necessarily deal with custody issues themselves. I think this is just, one more huge step in that direction in terms of making it very easy for people to just buy it like they would any other stock.
And that's a very good point. People like convenience, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean, I know a lot of you guys in the chat are saying self-custody for me. Some people said no, less than 1% says 4J. Yes, says David. So like, I mean, personally, I would probably have my financial advisor just dabble in it a little bit with some of it, but like, I mean, I would mainly keep that like stock stuff and hold my own Bitcoin, but that's just me personally.
Kind of, stock account. So I think we will see retail money flow into this. And, I like I said, I think this is the last really big step in kind of the mainstreaming of Bitcoin, for a huge, much bigger audience of investors.
And then so like the downside on this, right? Like the ETF, when it does get approved or it is able to be traded, when this sharp spikes, like we went over this yesterday a little bit, the sharp spikes in the market, they'll halt these markets so you guys can't trade the ETF. So people in the background, when we see, this thing spiking and everybody that's self-custodying Bitcoin can just go and sell it, and all these ETF people are like, shit, like they're trying to hit the sell button and they can't. They just paused it, and then it's like, oh, it dropped 20%. They closed it for the day. So guess what? You're waiting till tomorrow. Good luck. You think that price is going to be the same on Bitcoin? Definitely not.
I also want to talk about something that you mentioned earlier. We got some new filings today. We learned more about the fee structure for these spot ETFs. It's somewhere around 0.3% for them on average. Grayscale is a bit higher at more than 1%. Those are higher than, say, the SPY ETF that tracks the S&P 500. That fee is around 0.1%. Do you think those higher fees are justified given the custody process and so forth? Are they at all a deterrent?
No, I don't think so. For the exact reason you mentioned, there is a cost of custody here. It's non-trivial. Anyone who's tried to do this themselves knows that. And also, when you look at it in the context of kind of smart beta or alternative asset class ETFs, they're very much in line. Frankly, even a little bit cheaper than what you might see in some of the more sophisticated factor-based stuff. So I don't think the fees are going to be a deterrent at all. In fact, if anything, I think we see some of the filings have shown that people are going to, some of the issues are going to rebate fees for a certain period of time or up to a certain amount. So I think that's signaling that they're aggressively trying to attract, flows, specifically retail flows, into their ETFs. But yeah, that aside, I don't see the fees being a big stumbling block for retail or institutional in these.
All right, that's all for Crypto World today.
Interesting. Shout out to Crypto World for that. Yeah, it's gonna be real neat to see like what happens when the market does spike and the ETF just halts, and how big of the swings are gonna be with everybody that normally trade Bitcoin, in the background versus people that are holding the ETF. I don't know. It's gonna be strange and kind of sucky for those people at the same time. I'm not sure people really understand that they could just halt this market, right? On the other side though, holding the ETF, personally, I think that there's probably there's obviously some sort of protection, right, when it comes to them custodying your Bitcoin versus you holding it, right? If you lose your keys, you're screwed. But if they lose your Bitcoin, I'm wondering what their protocols are going to be, like how much they're guaranteed to give you back. Say like if the bank loses your money, you typically have a guarantee up to $250,000 maximum. So if you have $1 million in there, that money's gone. They're only going to replace 250,000 of it. Sorry, bro. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? It's kind of a trust me, bro situation with your money. It kind of sucks, but is what it is. All right, let's get into the videos of the day. We're just going to watch Mr. Austin over at Altcoin Daily. Bitcoin ETF 321. Boom. Let's see what he has to say about the news we watched today. Guys, that like button. Appreciate you all for hanging out. Let's do it.
So many people are expecting now a sell on the news that we might not have a sell on the news.
Is Cathie Wood smiling more than usual? Seems like it. I know there's been a lot.
She's happy as shit. Of course she is.
Of noise. But just in case anyone has been living under a rock, we are in that January 8th through January 10th window that many of us have had our eyes on.
Look around you. Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. Look around.
Bitcoin ETFs are knocking on the door of SEC approval. Guys, take 2 seconds, smash the like button.
Yes, please.
Let's get this video out there to as many people as possible. Of course, send this video to a friend. This is it. This is why we're here. Why we post, why we comment, why we get up in the morning. This is what it all comes down to. So just so you understand what the applicants and what the SEC
look at them wispy ass hairs he's got
has been doing. The applicants had to get in all of their final updated applications on Friday, and that's what they did. So now what we're seeing is the SEC updating their website and updating everything with this information. The 19B-4 applications from Friday after market close are now pouring onto the SEC's website. As I type this, James Seyfarth explains. He is the ETF expert over at Bloomberg, keeping us updated. Hey, he follows. This process can typically take a few days and up to 2 weeks. Yet another sign of what we already know. The SEC is accelerating things for this week. So at this point, we are expecting the official word that these ETFs have been approved on January 10th. That's the most likely date. Obviously, we'll be watching tomorrow if this comes earlier, but this is also the final date. No guarantees with any of
I do wonder if this is actually going to come tomorrow. And again, they said that if this does show up tomorrow, they could anticipate the actual ETF trading to be the 11th or the 12th, which is Thursday and Friday, which is absolutely insane. I can't believe it's already going to go live that fast if that's the case.
Of this, but it's looking like January 10th. And even more interesting, BlackRock, ARK Invest, Fidelity, in fact, 13 in total, are literally in a bidding war over who can offer the cheapest fees for their ETFs.
Facts.
Because they know there's a truckload of demand ready to roll in. They're competing for business. Be very aware of everything going on these next few days. Don't walk away before they start lighting fireworks. Hold on tight, enjoy the show. So what comes next? What can we expect after these spot Bitcoin ETFs are approved? Before we talk about this, I want to hear from somebody actively involved. I want to hear from Cathie Wood. CNBC just asked her 2 questions. Do you think your ETF and the 13 in total ETFs will be approved? Assuming they get approved, what will be the impact on price?
If you guys missed any of this stuff, Go back to the beginning of this video. We watched all these articles.
Cathie Wood smiling more than usual? Seems like it.
Do you believe your application will be approved? And why do you think so? And what kind of negotiations have been in with the SEC about this? Give us a sense of where we are.
Sure. Well, we do think the probability is very high that that Bitcoin ETFs will be approved this week. And the reason, as we've been saying, is, the SEC actually, after, denying a number of times, started asking questions, very good questions, very detailed questions, very technical questions. So I think they've asked all the questions they need answered, and I think most of us have probably been a part of that process.
Real quick, Mr. DJ Mines just threw this in the live chat. Thank you very much for that. It says, just in, spot Bitcoin ETF start trading on Thursday. VanEck CEO.
Perfect.
Damn, that's crazy. I wonder if it'll that's legit. I guess we'll have to see.
So let's assume the SEC approves your application. What kind of impact would a Bitcoin ETF have? I mean, we've all noticed this run up in Bitcoin ever since BlackRock announced their interest from 30,000 to over 40,000. All of this is anticipation of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Could this be a sell on the news event? What happens from here? Let's assume this is approved.
I wouldn't be super shocked if it was approved today. I don't know about you guys, but it's got to be today or tomorrow. It's just going to be weird if it's not.
Sure.
All this hype.
I think so many people are expecting now a sell on the news that we might not have a sell on the news because, once you hear that enough, the positioning is already taking place. So who knows? It's a very short term. All we know is with our 5-year investment time horizon, we think the flows into this new asset class, especially institutional flows, but also retail flows. Retail has led the charge, of course, that they're going to be quite substantial. And it won't take much of an allocation by institutions into Bitcoin to drive what is becoming a scarce asset much higher.
So, like I said, the applicants just released their fee spread for their ETF spot products. So what's the takeaway from all this? Well, honestly, these fees are so low that these ETFs will trade with absurdly tight penny-wide bid-ask spreads and without any commissions on most platforms.
That's kind of crazy, though, that Grayscale is at 1.5% and everybody else is like under 0.5%. And they're what they're doing is converting their whatever they already have, their Bitcoin trust, to the spot ETF, which isn't that kind of like screwing people, like people that are already in it? It's like, oh, we're just gonna convert it and you're paying more staying here. Sorry.
Don't be surprised
weird
when the fee war leaks out beyond just ETFs. What does this mean? This means a huge win for investors. I remember people saying that spot Bitcoin ETFs are simply a money grab by issuers.
I wonder after 6 months how high these fees are actually going to be, because these are only good for like 6 months or up to a certain amount of money, like in ARK Invest situation, right?
Clearly not the case. A tight spread like this equals a major win for investors. It will put real pressure on crypto exchanges. Coinbase, Gemini, the fees are too damn high. These fees are going to come down finally, I hope. So all of these fees are much lower than expected. Why? Why are the fees so low?
It'd be nice to see fees cheaper on Coinbase.
Because all of these applicants are fighting to get the first customers. They're likely expecting a big demand right away, and they want to make their product as appealing as possible. A wave of capital will flow into Bitcoin, most likely starting this week. Sources in the know are reporting that BlackRock has already lined up $2 billion plus client money for their spot Bitcoin ETFs to inject $2 billion plus immediately into their Bitcoin ETF upon launch, upon the first week or so. We've won,
That's
guys.
Awesome.
Cryptocurrency holders have won. The Bitcoin
That guy was way too excited.
ETF saga is finally coming to an inflection point this week. If you, like me, have been in Bitcoin long enough to remember when every major financial institution called Bitcoin and crypto a bubble or a scam or similar, it is a bit surreal to see the conversations around it all now. Enjoy the show this week. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, of course. We keep you updated on everything going on in crypto on a daily basis. And with Gary Gensler releasing this big, long warning to investors, warning to people investing in crypto, warning people about investing in crypto, it seems like this ETF is approved, and we're just waiting for the official word to come through.
Spot Bitcoin ETF.
Bitcoin ETF.
We have, I think, somewhere between 8 and a dozen filings in front of this agency with regard to exchange-traded products around Bitcoin.
If all goes as we believe it should be going, we'll have a number of issuers come out of the gates at the same time. So you will have a number of options for investors.
I think in January, the approval of the spot ETFs is going to be a major catalyst that's going to definitely drive a demand shock.
The arrival of GBTC as a uplisted spot Bitcoin ETF, as well as spot Bitcoin ETFs more generally, is actually the beginning of an opportunity for the advised wealth market in the United States.
I want you to remember that BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK, 21 Shares, Grayscale, VanEck, Invesco, Hashdex, WisdomTree, Franklin, Valkyrie, and Bitwise Bitcoin ETFs. This is not the finish line.
That's a good point.
This is the starting line. And
just the
with
start.
altcoins retesting a multi-year accumulation range, look at this. Look at what happened last time. I don't think that the end result will be that much different from what happened in 2020. Alt season, baby. Subscribe to our channel.
Perfect.
Join our
Guys,
team.
things are going to explode with this ETF. Appreciate Mr. Austin over at Altcoin Daily for that. All right, let's get into the recap segment of things. What do you guys think about all this in the chat? Let's see what we're looking at right now for the Bitcoin price. 46,899. Nice. Again, if you guys did just miss what Mr. DJ put in the chat, appreciate you, buddy. We have just in spot Bitcoin ETF start trading on Thursday. VanEck CEO. Pretty awesome. Oh, look, in DJ's comment right there. Finally, or we're gonna see. I should probably follow this, huh? Pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. What do you guys think about that? Also, we have the Bitcoin halving looking like Bitcoin halving countdown 107 days away. To be honest, I think the Bitcoin ETF is a big deal, right? But at the same time, the ETF is just a thing as of right now, right? Like the halving is really where the cycle kind of revolves around. So I think we're going to see major gains after the halving versus, what we're going to see right now after the ETF, regardless of like all this money coming into the market. I do think it's going to come to like, people are going to understand that, okay, there's way less available now per day and much more is going to come into the market as it typically does every 4 years. So I guess we'll have to see what happens there. All right, let me check, see if you guys have any questions in the chat. Feel free to ask away. Let's see, just at me if you could. Carlson to the moon. Carlson, what's Carlson looking like? Carlson, where am I at? KLS, let's see. Oh wow, it looked way better than I thought it was gonna be. it's at 3 cents, almost 3 cents, 8.5%. I would yeah, bruh. I don't think that's the moon. I don't think we're going very far there. Let's see what's Pyron looking like. What's Pyron looking like? 4.5 cents. All right, let's look at Aletheum. Aletheum's been on fire lately. You guys have what the hell? Why didn't that type? Weird. All right, let's see. It is up 4% today. $2.27. I don't know if you guys are mining this. This has been a good coin to mine. I don't know if you guys are staying in it or not, but definitely don't forget to take profits. I know this coin could still fly up. What's the market cap on it actually? Let's see. Market cap is 148 million, which is relatively low. It's really not that bad. Like if you guys compare, so 148 million, let's just see real quick. 148 million. If you look at like something like Kaspa, apparently Aletheum is like super fast like Kaspa. I've heard actually Pellish Miner showed me one of his transactions and it was extremely quick. It was very close second to Kaspa. We have $2.5 billion market cap over here and 148 million on Aletheum. So could we see a 5x? Could we see a 10x? I mean, anything's possible. Anything's possible. Really, it really is. It's crazy. Like we could see a lot of money go into that. I mean, 148 million is peanuts compared to this. Literally, like DJ might just say a nothing burger, right? Like legit. You weren't joking. It is. KLS for the GPU just as fast as Kaspa. Yeah, but again, I don't like talking shit about it, but it's like it's living off the hype of Kaspa, I think, regardless of how good it is. I think realistically, I think that's why this coin pumped. Let's be real, right? Looking at the 30-day, right? Look at this. It pumped because of Kaspa, like 100%, because of the hype of GPU mining it and Kaspa. So 90 days, December 8th, right? It was up to 24 cents, and now we're down to, you know what I mean, flatlined, lost a heartbeat, it's gone. Bruh. You know what I mean? It is low power. I do agree there. It is low power. So like between this and Pyron, dude, they're awesome coins to mine, 100%. Like totally worth it. Totally worth your time mining these on any of your GPUs. If you're a GPU miner, 1000%. Definitely agree. Lithium now is top of the charts though. So I would definitely focus on lithium if you're going to mine anything on GPUs, but that's just my opinion. But at the same time, you got to look at the hash rate, right? Because if the hash rate's crazy, your yields are going to be less and you might not be making as much. But realistically, like lithium and Hyper, actually this one's Hyper and Carlson. See, Carlson's actually, no, you know what? Carlson actually jumped into a few of these cards. So Carlson could be, I mean, just because the hash rate could be more profitable. You never know. Check it out. I mean, it's definitely between those three though, Pyron, Carlson, and lithium as of right now when it comes to GPU mining, at least in my opinion. AIPG, I know, but that's just kapow. I can't do that. Let's see who else is here. Miss Randy showed up. Perfect. Appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by, guys. That like button, appreciate you all. All right, I don't think I missed anything in the chat really. Let's see. Corrections due. Some people are saying breaking Vortex breaking. Cats love tummy pats. Bruh. You and your damn cats, bro. Not a cat guy, to be honest. Not a cat guy. I grew up with cats. They're a pain in the ass, and they get bitchy. Like you walk by and they're like, and they fucking smack your leg. You're like, get the fuck out of here! Like, what are you doing? Like, ow, that shit hurts. Cut it out. Oh my god. No, cats are cool, but like, holy shit, yeah, they get really bitchy. Some cats get really, yeah, they turn into straight assholes. All right, guys, love you all. You're all fantastic. Miss Randy Hipper, aka Miss Teen Crypto, is gonna be going live in a little bit. I will redirect you guys as of right now. Let me get this all situated real quick. She's gonna be starting in like 45 minutes, so, or 40 minutes or so. So if you guys wouldn't mind, go check her out. She's fantastic. You guys have a great, happy, and safe Tuesday. If we get approved, maybe I'll go live again at some point today. If not, we will talk about it tomorrow morning. Guys, have a good one, and peace out. Hold on, I missed the super chat and I apologize. Mr. Dan R, I didn't even see that. Thank you so much. So smash that like button. Only 80-ish people have liked this stream. LFG, appreciate you, buddy. All right, now we're really out of here. Peace out.
This hash rate's going bonkers.